National Electrical Code, or NEC, Section 430.72 addresses spaces about electrical equipment. Specifically, it states that trenches cut in the floor for the purpose of containing and concealing raceways or cable shall extend at least 2 inches, which is 50.8 mm, beyond the equipment switchboard or panel board on all sides at the point of emergence. The trench interiors and covers shall be approved. Sufficient space shall be provided within the trench or above to permit the conductor terminations to be made without crowding and to permit the access necessary for proper maintenance and inspection. NEC Section 310.10c concerns other spaces dedicated to electrical equipment. This section stipulates that where access between conduits or other raceways and switchboards or other equipment is necessary to facilitate maintenance and repair, the 2-foot, which is 0.6 meter, working space required by 110.26 shall be provided at the point of entry. Based on these NEC requirements, creating cable trenches inside water pump rooms is conditionally permissible. It is not allowed without meeting specific conditions. Firstly, the trench must extend at least 2 inches, that is 50.8 mm, beyond the water pump on all sides at the point of emergence. Secondly, the trench interiors and covers must be approved to ensure safety and compliance. Thirdly, sufficient space must be provided within or above the trench to allow for proper conductor terminations, maintenance, and inspection. This ensures that electrical work can be performed safely and efficiently. Fourthly, a 2-foot, 0.6 meter working space must be provided between the trench and any water pumps or other equipment to facilitate maintenance and repair. This provides adequate room for personnel to perform necessary tasks. In addition to these requirements, the NEC also mandates that all electrical equipment in damp or wet locations, such as water pump rooms, be protected from moisture and corrosion. This may necessitate additional measures, such as the use of waterproof cables, connectors, and enclosures. These measures are essential to prevent electrical hazards and ensure the longevity of the equipment. To elaborate on these requirements, let's consider specific scenarios and applications. For example, when installing a cable trench in a water pump room, the first step is to carefully plan the location and dimensions of the trench. It should be positioned to provide easy access to the electrical equipment while also ensuring that it meets the required clearances. The trench should be deep enough to accommodate the cables and raceways without crowding, and it should be wide enough to allow for proper conductor terminations. Once the trench has been excavated, the next step is to install the approved trench interiors and covers. These materials should be durable and resistant to moisture and corrosion. They should also be designed to provide adequate protection for the cables and raceways. The covers should be securely fastened to prevent accidental removal or displacement. After the trench interiors and covers have been installed, the cables and raceways can be placed inside the trench. It is important to ensure that the cables are properly supported and secured to prevent them from sagging or becoming damaged. The conductors should be terminated according to the manufacturer's instructions, and the connections should be thoroughly inspected to ensure that they are tight and secure. In addition to these installation considerations, it is also important to consider the ongoing maintenance and inspection of the cable trench. The trench should be regularly inspected for signs of damage or deterioration, and any necessary repairs should be made promptly. The covers should be checked to ensure that they are securely fastened, and the interior of the trench should be kept clean and free of debris. Furthermore, the 2-foot working space around the trench should be maintained at all times to ensure that personnel can safely access the electrical equipment for maintenance and repair. This working space should be free of obstructions, and it should be adequately illuminated to allow for safe and efficient work. In addition to the specific requirements for cable trenches in water pump rooms, the NEC also includes general requirements for electrical installations in damp or wet locations. These requirements are designed to protect against electrical hazards and ensure the safe operation of electrical equipment. For example, the NEC requires that all electrical equipment in damp or wet locations be listed for use in those locations. This means that the equipment has been tested and certified by a recognized testing laboratory to ensure that it is safe to use in wet environments. The NEC also requires that all electrical equipment in damp or wet locations be installed in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. This ensures that the equipment is properly installed and protected from moisture and corrosion. In addition to these general requirements, the NEC also includes specific requirements for wiring methods in damp or wet locations. For example, the NEC requires that all wiring in damp or wet locations be installed in raceways or enclosures that are approved for use in those locations. This provides additional protection for the wiring and helps to prevent electrical hazards. The NEC also requires that all conductors in damp or wet locations be insulated with a moisture-resistant insulation. This insulation helps to prevent the conductors from becoming corroded and ensures that they will continue to operate safely. Furthermore, the NEC includes requirements for grounding and bonding in damp or wet locations. Proper grounding and bonding are essential to prevent electrical shock hazards and ensure the safe operation of electrical equipment. The NEC requires that all electrical equipment in damp or wet locations be grounded in accordance with the NEC requirements. This provides a path for fault current to flow back to the source, which helps to trip the circuit breaker or fuse and prevent electrical shock. In addition to grounding, the NEC also requires that all metal enclosures and raceways in damp or wet locations be bonded together. This ensures that all metal parts are at the same potential, which helps to prevent electrical shock hazards. The NEC also includes requirements for overcurrent protection in damp or wet locations. Overcurrent protection devices, such as circuit breakers and fuses, are designed to protect electrical circuits from overload in short-circuit conditions. The NEC requires that all electrical circuits in damp or wet locations be protected by overcurrent protection devices that are sized appropriately for the circuit. This helps to prevent damage to the electrical equipment and reduces the risk of electrical fire. The NEC also includes requirements for the location of electrical equipment in damp or wet locations. The NEC requires that electrical equipment be located in a way that minimizes the risk of exposure to moisture and corrosion. For example, the NEC requires that electrical equipment be located above the floodplain in areas that are subject to flooding. This helps to prevent the equipment from becoming damaged by floodwaters. The NEC also requires that electrical equipment be located away from sources of moisture, such as sprinklers and water pipes. This helps to prevent the equipment from becoming corroded. In addition to these specific requirements, the NEC also includes general requirements for the safe installation and operation of electrical equipment. These requirements are designed to protect against electrical hazards and ensure the safe operation of electrical systems. For example, the NEC requires that all electrical work be performed by qualified electricians who are trained in the safe installation and operation of electrical equipment. This helps to ensure that the electrical work is performed correctly and safely. The NEC also requires that all electrical equipment be maintained in good working order. This includes regularly inspecting the equipment for signs of damage or deterioration and making any necessary repairs promptly. In addition to the NEC requirements, there may also be local codes and regulations that apply to electrical installations in water pump rooms. It is important to check with the local authorities to determine what these requirements are and to ensure that all electrical work is performed in accordance with these requirements. In summary, the installation of cable trenches in water pump rooms is subject to specific requirements outlined in the National Electrical Code. These requirements address trench dimensions, approved materials, working space, and protection against moisture and corrosion. Compliance with these standards is essential to ensure electrical safety, prevent hazards, and maintain the integrity of electrical systems in damp or wet environments. Always consult the latest edition of the NEC and local codes for the most accurate and up-to-date information. Always engage qualified electricians for electrical installations and maintenance to ensure safety and compliance with all applicable regulations. Failing to adhere to the NEC guidelines can lead to dangerous situations, including electrical shocks, fires, and equipment malfunctions. Remember that the NEC is in place to protect both people and property, and strict adherence to its rules is a critical aspect of electrical work. The goal is not simply to get the job done, but to do it correctly, safely, and in compliance with established standards. By following these guidelines, we can ensure the safety and reliability of electrical installations in water pump rooms and other damp or wet locations. Understanding the NEC requirements, following best practices, and using appropriate materials are essential for creating a safe and functional electrical system. This will help to prevent accidents, reduce the risk of fire, and ensure that the electrical equipment operates reliably for many years to come. So, always take the time to carefully plan your electrical installations, use approved materials and methods, and consult with qualified professionals when needed. Your safety and the safety of others depends on it.